Alright guys, I don't really have an intro, but welcome back. Today we will be taking a look at what went on through the All-Star break, and as well taking a dive into some bets for today for this Lakers and Hornets game. Yeah, definitely, quite the game to come back on, and the spread's at, minus 12.5 for the Lakers, so they definitely are heavily favored in this matchup. So, biggest thing is that we hope it's a close and competitive matchup. But here, we're going to take a look at a recap of what happened over the All-Star weekend. So, I guess maybe biggest surprising thing that happened over the whole weekend was probably the fact that Tyler Hero did end up winning the three-point contest. So, kudos to him for that. Dethroning Dame and everything. Yeah, Norman Powell had a stinker, absolutely stunk it up, even though he was a strong pick in my opinion, going into it all. The dunk contest was an absolute joke. Obviously great for Mac McClung. He did pull off some killer stuff, but yeah, Buzzelli and Jackson Jr. seemed like they didn't even belong there, which is crazy because watching their dunk highlights leading up to it shows that they can. But obviously there's a ton of pressure and everything, and Mac McClung clearly just does not feel that pressure as much as the rest of the guys. The skills comp what an odd fucking thing for Chris Paul and Wemby to pull off. Who's to say they couldn't have just fucking won it normally? But the Cavs end up winning this, so it's pretty much chalk all this. And Wemby MVP, this would have been such a compelling case if they didn't just get slaughtered in the final round. Wemby seemed like the only person who even gave a shit to be there, other than, Steph Curry just fucking completely lighting it up. And, yeah, the OG squad was just a nightmare to deal with. So, yeah, Wemby MVP, although I felt it was a good read. And unfortunately, he came close, but it definitely, was deserving for Curry and, made sense considering the environment. It seemed a bit too obvious to be true that Curry would just be taking the MVP home like that, but it was clear that the other players wanted to get him involved the most, and he was, hitting his shots ultimately. So, it shouldn't be a surprise to hit his shots. It's not good as fuck at any defense being played anyways, but nonetheless, All-Star weekend was a complete chalk fest ultimately. But going into today's bets, we do have 3 on the board that I think are of good value. I'm just gonna quickly snag the odds here for those for that LaMelo and that Luka bet there. So just gonna quickly pull up the game and kind of see what those odds are at here again. Hopefully they haven't moved too much. So yeah, when we're looking at player points and assists, we have LaMelo. Oh, okay, it's actually gone, the juice has gone down a little bit on this. You can grab it at over 31.5 at a little bit lower odds. I think that's sitting right now at, my bad here, sometimes FanDuel kind of fucks around on me here. But yeah, so we have Luka over 33.5 at minus 130, so that has been getting hammered a little bit by some other people. I think it was at minus 115 when I hit it. This is obviously a very volatile market with everyone going to be betting on this one lonely NBA game here. So, you got to really hope that it's going to end up being competitive. We have LaMelo's at minus 122. Since these are both heavily favored, I would almost even lean in towards putting these both into a 2-leg parlay. I got this in on as a 2-legger at plus 213. And at that rate, I would definitely recommend swinging in. I did half a unit. My unit size is about $20, and that would be turning into $31.28. Which would be a nice little bankroll builder for that, so long as this can hit. I think as long as the game stays competitive, that both these guys do have a great matchup. And Mark Williams over 10.5 boards, you can go with his double-double if you are looking to get a little bit more juice and get that plus money. But I think, for him to grab 10 boards is very likely. I think, I had at about a 60% theoretical probability on that. And yeah, I know that his line is set at 16 points. So, if you are confident that he can get to 10, then definitely you could go with this option. But I just like a little bit less risk on that. So we're going to go with the over 9.5 rebounds. And yeah, I'm going to kind of dig into why I came to this conclusion here. So first we're going to take a look at Mark Williams' stats. Obviously, it does feel like he has a little bit of extra incentive in this one, just considering, you know, all the drama that has been surrounding this whole trade. So we're going to look at him to get 10 plus rebounds. In his last 20 games played has been great, and this is only reflecting some of his time that he's really gotten to see these minutes. I mean, based on my research, it shows that he should be getting around 30 minutes tonight, but to play it on the safe side, we will show the filter at 24. And I don't know why this is bugging here. I don't know why it's showing. Yeah, usually it doesn't mess up like this, but regardless, we can just take a look at, you know, how many minutes he played in some of these games here. But yeah, my apologies for that. Even the games, yeah, 22 minutes, 11-point win, maybe a bit lopsided. That's why he sees a bit less time. And when he doesn't hit this, God, does he ever come close to it? So if we're looking at his last 20, all these times that he just, you know, goes one over, we're going to look at kind of why that is that he just goes one under on this. So versus Portland, definitely there is some size that you're competing against for those rebounds. In Memphis, of course, you have Jaren Jackson Jr., Zach Edey. It is tough to grab those rebounds against them. He still comes up with 9. I believe Mark Williams ran into a bit of health issues during this game, and that's why he left a little bit early. Only had 5 boards, but of course Milwaukee's extremely tough team to battle against. And when we look at his head-to-head matchup with the Lakers, last time he faced them, he played 33 minutes, had 11 points, 8 boards. I think he'll be a lot more motivated this time around, and as well that was against the Lakers with Anthony Davis at that point in time. So I think that, you know, with this being a lot weaker with Jackson Hayes, who only averages, I believe his line's at like 5.5 rebounds. I mean, of course, you have LeBron and Luka and other people looking to get their hands on the rebounds, but there's no one as dominant and as strong of a rebounder as Williams on the court. So I think this would be a really good opportunity for him to hit this 10 rebounds. Lakers are 22nd in rebounds allowed to opposing centers, and I think that this will just get worse over time without Anthony Davis there. I think this is like their main glaring weak point. But yeah, as well, when you take a look at his points and rebounds, I feel that that is, you know, another one maybe worth considering. But the whole 16 points thing, I think, for me is tough. Like, you have LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller also going to be starting tonight. Like, as the Hornets are finally kind of back to a healthy place. So I think that there'll be a little bit more spreading the wealth as far as, you know, not really necessarily just looking to feed Williams the ball. But yeah, he definitely has shown that he can score and put up quite a few points. But yeah, against the Lakers, I think, you know, especially considering all this drama, there might be a little bit of extra attention on Williams. And yeah, definitely will be interesting as well to see how the backcourt does kind of deal with LaMelo Ball. If there is a lot of pressure on him, he definitely could be swinging the rock to Williams to boost the stat. But I'm still going to be rocking with his rebounds here. I feel that it's a really good opportunity for him facing a weaker rebounding team, and as well to make a statement against the Lakers that, you know, kind of turned him down even after somewhat wanting him, which is a little bit confusing. Still confusing why this even happened. He probably would have been a great fit for the Lakers, but nonetheless, we will now take a dive into Luka and LaMelo. So we're going to quickly pull up LaMelo's stats here. And then we're going to take a look at his points and assists, shave that down to over 31.5. That is what you can grab this at. Take a look at him for the whole season. This is a tremendous hit rate opportunity for him here. Especially in, hopefully we can do the minutes ticker here, but like, I don't know why it's saying 2 to 4 minutes. Like, this is usually this works great, so I don't understand why that is. But regardless of that, like, obviously he's not playing only 2 minutes unless, you know, that ankle kind of gives him some help. But again, no sign of any minutes restriction for LaMelo on this one. We look at his last 20. I mean, he gets hurt against the Lakers. Only plays 10 minutes against the Nets as well, so he's hurt in that. But when we look at, you know, all these games where he actually has some 30 minutes plus, he does end up reaching this. Like against Cleveland, obviously a tough matchup for him. They end up getting dealt with. I'm sure that the game was more lopsided than it reflects in the score here. And let's see what he shot in this. So yeah, he shot 7 for 23 for 11 from 3. you know, he hits one more three, one more assist, he gets up to this point. The other thing with assists on the Hornets is, you know, there wasn't as much help. There wasn't Brandon Miller. There wasn't Mark Williams around like these other key pieces to feed. So I think that this will be a better spot for LaMelo to get some assists, you know, facing the Lakers defense that is 22nd in the league for assists allowed to opposing point guards. And I'll be honest, like, Luka's defense is a little bit shaky. Austin Reeves, I think, you know, he's a decent defender, but those are both offensive-minded individuals, and it would not be a shocker to me if LaMelo Ball, you know, hits this or even just soars over it. I think, you know, he easily could drop 30 points and leave us not even sweating this bet. So I do think this is a great line, especially at the value that we had it at for minus 122. And now we will be taking a look at, I don't know why I was showing it like that. I think it was at minus 1. Yeah, minus 113. Okay. Oh yeah, and that's okay. So then we'll just put that there just in case you did want to parlay these two legs. Then you would get it at plus 213. So yeah, that's a bit of the reasoning for, you know, why we're going to take LaMelo Ball in this matchup, coming off that injury. And especially after the All-Star break, not being able to play at that either, he's really going to be, you know, motivated to put up a good performance tonight. And finally, we're going to be taking a look at Luka, who has, you know, finally been announced that he's not going to be on any sort of minutes restriction. So we're really going to get to see what Luka brings to this team. I think that over 33.5 points and assists will be a rare line for him. I think, you know, going forward, there will be a bit higher on this line. Like, I could see this, you know, jumping up to like even 40, like over 39.5. I think that, you know, Luka definitely could fall into that facilitator role for the Lakers. I think that people may be surprised in LeBron's willingness to kind of sit back a little bit and really rest up until the playoffs. And Luka can definitely run this offense. Like, I think this should take away from a lot of the, you know, exertion that LeBron really has to put in to the game. But if we take a look at Luka's past 2 seasons and how he facilitates, he's over this line 78% of the time. Even over this on 54% of the season, but he has had some lingering issues. That's kind of what has been keeping him from hitting this line. Like 3 of these games, he's under 20 minutes, which is unusual for him. And then, you know, the rare time when he sees 40 minutes, it's just a very poor shooting out of him, like 5 for 15. And here he actually shoots 7 for 17, which isn't terrible, and he had 10 assists, but he just, you know, not enough free throws. You're facing the Wizards, so yeah, they absolutely blew them out there, so that's another reason why. I mean, we have a fresh Hornets team, so I mean, I really hope that they can keep it close. I almost was even thinking plus 12.5 was a good line for the Hornets. I don't really think the NBA wants the first game back to be a massive, unentertaining blowout, but at the same time, there's going to be enough eyes on it just because of the fact that Luka's playing with LeBron, and it's a spectacle that we haven't really gotten to see too much of. But yeah, this is my reasoning for that, and as well, pretty much middle of the pack in the league as far as dealing with point guards, as far as their points and assists. And Luka is not your average point guard by any means. He's, I would say, likely the second best, if not the best point guard in the whole league. Obviously, SGA is right there, and definitely put up a more compelling case this year because of Luka's health concerns. So I do think that these are 3 great looks for tonight's game, and I mean, hey, like, all I want is this to be competitive. If this ends up being a massive blowout, probably all 3 bets chalk, but if this, you know, can be somewhat competitive and we can get 30 minutes plus out of these 3 guys, I think that we should be looking at some profit here. So I would recommend 1 unit. I put $20 on him over 9.5 boards, and then you can either put 1 unit on each of these, or you can just put half a unit on the actual parlay itself. And yeah, that's really all I have. I mean, that was rough stuff over All-Star weekend. Probably the worst All-Star game I've ever seen. And I really hope that this is not the format for next year. Like, it was nuts. Like, after the first time out that Team Chuck took, there's like a 25-minute break to say goodbye to the TNT squad. That's not even really saying goodbye. Like, they're still going to be televised and everything. So Yeah, questionable stuff out of the NBA, and Adam Silver and like Kevin Hart made some weird porn star joke or porn director joke in front of all the kids, and seen a lot of people weren't impressed with that. So I don't know. Hopefully the NBA isn't a completely dying product. I am definitely still a fan. But anyways, that's our 3 picks of the day, and we hope to be talking about some profit tomorrow.